Altered is an upcoming TCG that is in its last couple of days on Kickstarter. It has raised over $4 million in funding, and a lot of gamers are asking the question, should I try another TCG? Is it worth it? I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I think anyone who likes TCGs should give Altered a try. Now, at the same time, these reasons that I'm going to give you, they're often the same points that people make on why you shouldn't try Altered, why you should stay away from it. So let's talk about it. Let's discuss. If you think that I'm wrong about any of these, let me know in a comment below. Number 1, Altered is a non-violent themed TCG. Now, I'll be honest, this is actually what kicked it off for me, right? There's a ton of new TCGs coming out all the time to varying degrees of quality, but most of the time, violence to some degree is at the core of the game. Now, obviously, you can tell from my background here that I'm okay playing some games like Flesh and Blood that have some violence in it, or they have a lot. But at the same time, I've been looking for a non-violent TCG that I could enjoy that was good for quite a while. The last one that I really enjoyed, that I had a lot of fun with, was MLB Showdown 2000. So yes, it's been a while since I've found a good one. Altered is about exploration. It's a race with your opponent. It's not about using cards that say murder, destroy, dominate, whatever phrase you can think of. You won't find that in the text of these cards, and I love that. Life has a lot of chaos and destruction already built into it, and sometimes it's nice to just take a break from it, to step back and to play a game that's not about destroying your opponent. Now, there's not a ton of people out there that I've heard say, I don't want to try this game, doesn't have enough violence for me. But at the same time, chickens fly everywhere. To the contrary, I've heard a lot of people who are very, very excited about it, specifically for this reason. But reason number 2, now that's one that's gotten some people upset. My reason number 2 to try Altered is that there are unique, one-of-one playable cards in the game. That's right, you heard me correct. There are cards, there's one of one, there's no other copies of it, and you can use it in a tournament to play against other people. Isn't it exciting to know that you can have the only copy of a card in the whole world, and you can take it to an event and you can surprise your opponent with something new? Isn't that fun? To me, that is just thrilling and it's exciting. What do you mean exactly that there are unique cards? In Altered, you can open a character in its common, rare, or unique form. The common form is tied to the main faction of the character. The rare versions of the cards come in 2 different factions, the same as the common and an additional faction. The rare versions, though, are altered from the original. Not only is the artwork cooler, but the stats are slightly different. You might find this in the cost of the card, in its power, or in its ability. The unique version takes alteration to the next level. Unique character cards can be found in the same 2 factions as the rare versions of the character, but this time the alterations on the unique card will be unique to that card. There will be no other card in print that has the same combination of stats as this one unique card. Now, this doesn't mean that there is only one version of each character in its unique form. It means that there are many versions of that character in its unique form, but each one of those versions, cards you get, will be unique in its stats. So for example here, Ratatoskr is going to have a lot of different unique cards out there that you can get for him, but each one of them will be different from the rest. So some are worried that versions of these unique cards might be so good, so broken, that you'll have to buy them. You'll have to chase them and search for them if you want to have any chance at competing. I'm not super worried about this. If through their algorithms and generating these alterations, some of them really do become so good, so awesome, so amazing, well, there's probably going to be a lot of them that are really good. even with that possibility, I'm confident that they have some different things set up in their algorithm for card generation to make sure that no cards are printed that are just way out there so amazing that it just blows your mind. Also, you can only include 3 unique cards in your deck, which means there's not going to be anybody out there playing with a complete deck of uniques, and there's going to be so many different variations based on how many characters there are, and then all the different variations of them, that it won't be a problem for people to buy these. It won't be a problem for people to find them. Your standard booster box will have between 4 and 5 uniques. If you're buying the Kickstarter version, there will be even more, so it won't take very long for people to get 3 uniques that they like for their deck. Others are worried that there won't be enough different permutations of the cards they can make so that the cards actually feel unique. And others of them say they won't really be unique because you can print as many as you want. We're going to come back to that one later. So sure, things might not go perfectly with unique cards, but I like it. I like the idea of having a card in my deck. I can open a card in a booster pack that nobody else has seen before, that nobody else has. It's fun, it's exciting, and it's something that I can have, you can have, everybody who plays the game can have. It makes it more interesting, more fun. It's a new thing, it's exciting. And honestly, if things get a little bit wild, that's a plus for me, not a negative. And let's be real, most of the time you're not playing at a big fancy tournament anyways, you want to just play and have some fun. Uniques make it fun. Third main reason I'm excited to try Altered is QR codes. Now, some people can't get past the idea that there's a QR code on the front of their cards. I can't look! Oh, it's burning my eyes! Oh, just get it away! Now, when you actually pick up one of these cards, the QR code, it's just not really that big of a deal. Let's make this clear. I am somebody who cares very, very much about how good the cards that I am buying look in front of me. I have spent months talking about how much I love the way Flesh and Blood cards look and the quality and the design and the collectability and all that jazz. So when I saw this QR code for the first time on their cards, my first thought, my first reaction was, yeah, it doesn't look great. But then I quickly jumped into wondering, why is it there? What is behind this QR code that their team decided over at Altered, you know what, we think it's worth putting that on the card. We think it's worth sacrificing a little bit of the look of the card to add it. So why is the QR code there? Well, in Altered, there are 2 ways that you can own your cards. You can own them physically and digitally. If you own a card physically, well, you own it physically. If you own a card digitally, which you will as long as you scan your new cards into your account, there are 3 things you can do with it. First, you can sell your digital ownership of the card through Altered's marketplace. When you do this, again, you're just selling the digital rights to it, so you don't have to ship any of your physical cards to them. You're just transferring the digital ownership. The rights go straight to the buyer anywhere in the world. Imagine if I could have done that with the 10,000 packs of Flesh and Blood I've opened on this channel. Oh. You can also buy the digital rights to cards from anywhere else in the world, from anyone who has their cards in the app, even all those cool fancy uniques that you decided you needed to have. Now, obviously, if you just buy the digital ownership of a card, you still don't have the physical card. Or if you've sold the digital rights to a card, they don't have the physical card, which is the next thing you can do with your digital ownership of a card. You can print on demand new copies of cards you own. So you can print some copies of cards that you didn't quite get enough for a playset from your box. Or you can print some copies of that cool unique you just bought from across the world. You could print 100 of them to fill out a whole binder. Why not? But another fun feature is that you can actually print new copies of your cards in any of the available languages that Altered is printed in. As someone who enjoys collecting cards in multiple languages and dreams that someday I might actually be able to read them or speak some of the languages, I love it. Now this begs the question again, is a unique card really a unique card if you can print as many copies of it as you want? Yes, if you open a unique card, nobody else can print that card. Only you can. And you can decide not to print it. It will be unique. Nobody else will have it. But when your dog decides to eat it, your cat wants to scratch it, or maybe your child rips it in half, you will have the opportunity to print another copy so that you can have it. Or you can print one in English and in French and in Spanish and in German and Italian and who knows what they'll be in the future. Then you can finish destroying the old one and there will still only be one unique version. Now, let's say somebody does decide to print a bunch of versions of their unique card that they've opened and give them to friends or hand them out to people or trade with people. That's okay. That's fine. Let people do what they want to do. There will still only be one unique digital ownership of the card. This is where people say Altered is just a cash grab. They make you buy the boxes, and then if you want to print more cards, you got to do it through them. If you want to sell your cards, you do it through them. They're going to have a monopoly on the system, all this print on demand, all this marketplace. It's just a cash grab, just to get more money. And well, you know, Altered is made by a business called Equinox, and most businesses do have the goal of making money. It's part of being in a business. And of course, it's not just to make money, but it's to provide a service to people. Businesses try to make money. Does that mean that every business that provides a service or provides a good is just a cash grab? Or is it just a business that wants to provide a good and service to its customer with the idea and hope that this is worth enough that people want to pay for it? Now, am I going to want to print 1 million cards for this game? Am I going to want to try and sell everything through the app? I don't know. I have no idea how often I would use these services, but the fact that they're there is pretty amazing. Now, the third thing that digital ownership of a card allows you to do is to use that card in a sanctioned tournament event. You must own the digital rights to a card to be able to use it in an event. So again, if somebody just prints off a bunch of copies of a unique card for all their friends to have or ship it to every person in the world to make it not unique, only one person can use it in an event. It is unique, for sure in that context at least. Needing to have digital ownership of a card to use it in a tournament has some interesting applications for tournament play, management, and how exciting the marketplace will be. But we can dive deeper into that in another day. So these three ideas: that Altered is a non-violent themed TCG, it has unique one-of-one playable cards, and that it uses QR codes for a whole host of things within a digital marketplace, print on demand, and tournament play, really make Altered an exciting game for me to want to try. And yes, the gameplay is good. You can go test it over on Board Game Arena now if you want. But having not seen all of the cards and the full spectrum of what do uniques actually do, I'm not going to say too much about where I land on gameplay yet. I have no idea if the game is going to be the next big thing or if it's only going to last a short time, but there's enough innovation going on here for me that it just seems kind of silly to not even try it, to not give it a chance. All the reasons that people list for why it's going to be a big mess of a show and fail, they don't really stand up for me. Honestly, I'm looking forward to just taking a pack, opening it, scanning the cards, trying to sell a couple on the marketplace, and maybe even just try printing a few just to see how it all works and what this has in store for TCGs in the future. Do you agree with my take on Altered? Tell me what you love, tell me what you don't love about the game. Otherwise, make sure you check out their Kickstarter, which has way more information about the game that I didn't talk about here. It ends on February 29th, which is very soon. Peace.